Imagine a world on the brink. The United States, the world's leading superpower, contemplates the unthinkable, an invasion of Russia. This is not a history lesson, but a thought experiment, a chilling journey into a hypothetical war with global consequences. Could such a scenario ever unfold? What would drive the United States to such a drastic measure? The very notion seems preposterous. Yet, throughout history, seemingly unthinkable conflicts have erupted, reshaping the geopolitical landscape. By exploring this hypothetical scenario, we gain insights into the delicate balance of power, the potential for conflict, and the crucial role of diplomacy in our interconnected world. Our journey begins by delving into the potential motivations behind such a conflict. What political, economic, or military factors could compel the United States to consider such a daring and perilous course of action? The United States and Russia share a long and complex history, marked by periods of cooperation and intense rivalry. In this hypothetical scenario, tensions have reached a boiling point, pushing the two nuclear-armed nations to the precipice of war. What could ignite this powder keg? One potential flashpoint is geopolitical ambition. Russia, seeking to reassert its dominance in its near abroad, might make aggressive moves in Eastern Europe, challenging NATO's security guarantees. The United States, perceiving a direct threat to its allies and the existing world order, might feel compelled to intervene militarily. Economic factors could also play a role. Control over vital resources such as oil and natural gas could become a point of contention, leading to escalating sanctions and economic warfare. Cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and espionage could further erode trust and escalate tensions. While the specific triggers for conflict are difficult to pinpoint, a confluence of these factors, coupled with miscalculation and a failure of diplomacy, could set the stage for a United States invasion of Russia. Let's imagine the unthinkable happens. The United States decides to invade Russia. How might such an operation unfold? What strategies would the United States military employ? The sheer scale of Russia poses a daunting challenge, but the United States military, with its advanced technology and global reach, would likely adopt a multi-pronged approach. A massive air campaign targeting Russia's air defenses, command and control centers, and critical infrastructure would be the opening salvo. Cyber attacks would cripple communication networks and sow chaos. Simultaneously, United States naval forces would establish sea control in the Black Sea and the Baltic Sea, cutting off Russia's access to vital waterways. Ground forces deployed from NATO bases in Europe would face the daunting task of traversing vast distances and overcoming fierce resistance from the Russian military. The vastness of Russia's territory, coupled with its harsh climate and challenging terrain, would test the limits of United States logistical capabilities. The United States military would likely focus on capturing key cities, such as Moscow and St. Petersburg, aiming to decapitate the Russian leadership and cripple its ability to wage war. However, this would be a long and arduous campaign, fraught with uncertainty and the potential for catastrophic escalation. Russia, however, would not be caught off guard. It possesses a formidable military, hardened by years of experience in regional conflicts and equipped with a vast arsenal of conventional and nuclear weapons. Facing a United States invasion, Russia would unleash a multi-layered defense, leveraging its strengths and exploiting its adversaries' weaknesses. Russia's vast nuclear arsenal would serve as the ultimate deterrent, a chilling reminder of the catastrophic consequences of escalation. Conventionally, Russia would rely on its formidable air defenses, long-range missiles, and electronic warfare capabilities to counter United States air power and disrupt its communication networks. On the ground, the Russian military would employ a defense-in-depth strategy, utilizing its vast territory, harsh climate, and knowledge of the terrain to its advantage. Urban warfare, with its high casualty rates and potential for civilian suffering, would become a grim reality. Russia's cyber warfare capabilities would also come into play. Targeting critical infrastructure in the United States and its allies, Russia could disrupt financial markets, sow chaos, and erode public support for the war. The conflict would not be confined to the battlefields of Europe, but would extend into the digital realm, with unpredictable and potentially devastating consequences. Section 5. Global shockwaves, the world reacts. The ramifications of a US invasion of Russia would reverberate far beyond the borders of the two combatants, sending shockwaves through the global economy, political alliances, and the very fabric of international order. Economically, the world would plunge into chaos. Oil and gas prices would skyrocket as sanctions cripple Russia's energy exports. Global trade would grind to a halt, triggering a worldwide recession. The interdependence of the global economy means that no nation would be spared from the fallout. Politically, the world would be irrevocably divided. Alliances would be tested as countries are forced to choose sides. The United Nations, already strained by geopolitical tensions, would likely be rendered ineffective in mediating the conflict. The humanitarian cost of such a conflict is unimaginable. Millions would be displaced from their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries. The potential for war crimes and atrocities is high, further deepening the scars of conflict. The world would be a darker, more uncertain place. The rules-based international order, already under strain, would be shattered, replaced by a climate of fear, mistrust, and the constant threat of escalation. Section 6. The Nuclear Shadow. Looming over this hypothetical conflict is the specter of nuclear war. Both the United States and Russia possess vast arsenals of nuclear weapons, capable of inflicting unimaginable destruction. While the use of nuclear weapons is often considered unthinkable, the risk of escalation in a conflict of this magnitude cannot be ignored. The use of even a single nuclear weapon would have catastrophic consequences, not only for the combatants but for the entire planet. The immediate devastation caused by the blast, fires, and radiation would be followed by long-term environmental damage and a global nuclear winter, plunging the world into darkness and famine. The risk of accidental or unauthorized nuclear launches also increases during times of heightened tension and miscalculation. False alarms, communication breakdowns, and the fog of war could lead to unintended escalation with devastating consequences. The very existence of nuclear weapons casts a long shadow over this hypothetical conflict, a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of diplomacy in preventing such a catastrophic scenario. Section 7. The Fog of War. Unpredictable Outcomes. War is a complex and chaotic affair. Predicting its course with certainty is impossible. Unforeseen events, miscalculations, and the unpredictable nature of human behavior can all dramatically alter the course of a conflict. In this hypothetical scenario, the fog of war is particularly dense. The vastness of Russia's territory, the resilience of its people, and the unpredictable nature of modern warfare make it impossible to predict the outcome with any degree of certainty. The US might achieve initial military successes, but sustaining those gains and achieving its strategic objectives against a determined and resourceful enemy would be a monumental challenge. Russia, on the other hand, might miscalculate the U.S. quote, S resolve or face internal dissent that weakens its war effort. The only certainty in this scenario is that there would be no winners, only varying degrees of loss. The human, economic, and environmental costs would be immeasurable, leaving an indelible scar on the planet. Section 8. The Path Not Taken, Diplomacy First. Exploring this hypothetical scenario underscores a fundamental truth. War is a failure of diplomacy. While it is crucial to analyze potential conflicts and understand the dynamics of warfare, it is equally important to recognize the paramount importance of diplomacy in preventing such catastrophic events. Diplomacy, though often slow and painstaking, offers the only viable path to resolving conflicts and preserving peace. Through dialogue, negotiation, and a commitment to understanding each other's perspectives, nations can address their differences, build trust, and find common ground. Strengthening international institutions, such as the United Nations, is also crucial. These organizations, while imperfect, provide a forum for dialogue, mediation, and the peaceful resolution of disputes. Preventing a hypothetical conflict between the United States and Russia requires a sustained commitment to diplomacy, a willingness to engage in good faith, and a shared understanding that the costs of war far outweigh any potential gains. Section 9. Reflections on a Hypothetical War. Our journey into this chilling hypothetical scenario ends with a sobering realization. A war between the United States and Russia would be a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions, a global tragedy with no winners. While the specific details of this hypothetical scenario are by necessity speculative, the underlying message is clear. War is not a solution, but a failure. It is a last resort, a path fraught with danger and unpredictable consequences. As we reflect on this hypothetical conflict, let us remember the lessons it offers. Diplomacy, cooperation, and a shared commitment to peace are not merely aspirational goals, but essential pillars of a safer, more just and sustainable future. Let us strive to build a world where the horrors of war remain confined to the realm of hypotheticals, a world where dialogue triumphs over destruction, and where reason prevails over violence.